everyone! My name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, hello. Welcome to yet another wrap up. This one's gonna be quite quick, as I read only 7 books this month. I did DNF 2, which I'll just mention at the top of the video, but 7 books, which is my lowest reading month in quite some time. I don't know what was going on because I didn't have any writing stuff happening in April. I wanted to get through so many different books, but that's just not how it went. And that's okay, because I read some pretty solid books this month. So the 2 that I DNF'd were The Legend of Menica by Kritika H. Rao, which is heartbreaking because I really wanted to love this. I absolutely loved Kritika Rao's Surviving Sky, which is the first of her like climate sci-fi fantasy, which is so fucking good. So I was really hoping that I would like this. But I think this is just proof that an author is really good at voice if I really love one book and really hate another, because I hated the voice of this book. And then the second one that I DNF'd was another kind of like disappointment for me, was Vera Wong's Unsolicited Guide to Unsolicited Advice to Murderers, I think, by Jessie Sutanto, I believe. And this one should have been my perfect book. Cozy, funny, mystery, weird little antics, found family vibe. I was bored out of my mind. I did not like any of the characters, and I did not care about anything that was happening, which is like the thing that everyone loves the most about this book is the characters. And I wanted to throttle Vera Wong every time she was on page. So I DNF'd that one at like 50%, which is sad. I could have pushed through, but it would have been like a 2-star and I was just not having it. So anyways, out of the 7 books that I did read this month, we had 2 5-stars. One of them was a fresh 5-star, which we love. And one of them was a reread, of course. So I am geared up with my bullet journal. We've got our 7 books read. Let's talk about them. First book that I finished this month was for book club. It is River Mama by Zalika Reed Benta. When I first read this one, I think I gave it 3.5 stars, but after talking about it with my friends in book club, I dropped it to like a 2.5 star because they just kept bringing up very, very real things. This is a sort of like Percy Jackson grown up in Toronto, but lacks the depth of and like actual good storytelling of Percy Jackson. This follows a main character who I don't remember the name of, Alicia, who is kind of, you know, down on her luck as is usual. One day she's walking home drunk through the park. She ends up being accosted by River Mama because she was just there at the right time, and River Mama was like, "Hey, you're gonna find my comb for me," which sets her off on this like kind of quest throughout Toronto with her 2 not actually friends. She makes it very clear, even though they're definitely her friends and she's just a bitch. The quest was like very like, we have only until sunset to find this comb, and yet there's still lots of stretches of them doing fuck all, and it's very repetitive. I don't know. It wasn't great. It was like a fine reading experience, and I enjoyed that, and I really liked the way that Jamaican culture was wrapped into this, but it was just fine. 2.5 stars. Then I ended up reading the 5-star of the month, the favorite book of the month, and that was The River Has Roots by el-mohtar. I got this out from my library and loved it so much that I had to pick up an actual hardcover version, which is saying something because Canadian book prices, I'm gonna complain about Canadian book prices in every video that I do. Canadian book prices, this is $32 before taxes for a little hardcover. Insanity. But hey, you know what? I loved it so much that I was like, I don't even care. I will buy it, which is fantastic because this has a cutie little chicken on the front. This is an absolutely phenomenal fairy tale, darker, kind of twisty tale. El-mohtar's writing is just stunning, but I highly recommend that you pick this up via audiobook and also physically, because the illustrations in here are absolutely gorgeous. They're like woodcut style illustrations, and the audiobook is phenomenal. It has added atmosphere of like babbling brooks and nature, and it also has a couple artists in the background singing in the parts where our main characters are singing in here, which is really, really cool. Like just background, like wordless kind of singing, which is so beautiful. It is one of my favorite audiobooks that I have read recently. But yeah, that's all I'm really going to tell you about it. It follows these 2 sisters who are part of a family that sing to trees for different reasons, and I sobbed at the end of this. It was phenomenal. 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. I loved it so much. Then I picked up The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones on my Kobo, and this was interestingly good. I gave this 4 stars after finishing it, and I think I would have given it higher if the frame narrative wasn't there. Which is so interesting because I understand what the frame narrative is doing. And I could honestly write so many papers about what the frame narrative of this book is doing. And like, to me, the frame narrative takes this very ancient story that is being told, ancient, I say, historical, I should probably say, historical story that is being told and brings it into the modern day time. So it's showing that yes, these problems were a thing back then, but it is also still very much a problem now. And it does all this stuff, but I really did not like the ending. I really didn't like the frame narrative ending. I think it cheapened the feel of this story a whole heck of a lot. The internal story though, so we're following this character originally in the frame narrative, and she is researching this journal situation. She's trying to get money, a tenure, a project type of thing, because she's an academic. She's trying to get money to do research on this specific figure from her past that she has just found out is an ancestor of hers. She's indigenous, but he is not. He is a white Lutheran pastor, I think. I think the religion is Lutheran. I could be wrong. Can't quite remember. They don't really specify it. They don't really specify it. A lot of people in this like backstory narrative call him like father, preacher, all these different words as like almost a joke in different ways. Anyways, so we're following her right at the beginning as she takes ownership over these journals basically after they were found in the walls of this home somewhere. Not even a home, like this building that was for something. It wasn't in the church's walls. It was in like the next building's walls where this Lutheran guy like hid his journal. And this journal is basically him chronicling his interaction with this monster. And it's this Blackfeet man who comes in. He's very mysterious. He dresses as a like Lutheran pastor. Lutheran, not Lutheran. Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry. I knew I was saying that word wrong and I was like, I feel like I'm saying it even more wrong. Can you tell I'm not religious in any part of the word? I'm not religious at all. Lutheran pastor, preacher man, I don't know. This Blackfeet man comes in, Good Stab is his name, and he starts telling our father figure, religious guy, his story. He slowly comes back to this man every night, every so often, to continue divulging his sins. It's basically doing like a confession. It just gets more and more intense and creepy and interesting. I loved that story. I loved the journal bits and also the like transcribed bits from Good Stab telling his story. It was such perfect horror writing and historical writing. It was absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. That part alone would have been 5 stars for me, but the frame narrative fucking ruined it for me. It cheapened it. I don't know why. It felt like it took that horror the creeping, actually intense horror that we were experiencing and then immediately cheapened it in the frame narrative at the end. I don't know why. It felt immediately like a bad horror movie. And I think that might just be the character's voice that was coming through and the way that she was describing things. But I will say, I also listened to this on audiobook and it was really, really fun because a lot of the elements that were brought in with, again, audiobooks these days are just so interesting. I'm going to be doing a video on audiobooks soon because I want to talk about some of the interesting audiobooks that I've been listening to and what audiobooks are doing now with these fun, like not only like sound effects, but like actually interesting ways of recording stuff. I don't know. It was really interesting and I do highly recommend this. I also didn't find it like super creepy. I was expecting it to be a lot more creepy than it was. But I still really enjoyed this, so 4 stars. Then I read another book on my Kobo, which is Murder by Memory by Olivia Waite, which is the first book in a little novella cozy mystery type of situation. It was pitched by Tor as like Becky Chambers writes cozy mystery, and so I was immediately in. I picked this up. It was a great reading experience, but I only gave it like 3.5 stars because it just didn't do much for me personally. Like it felt kind of like a lackluster mystery ending. It follows this person who wakes up in the wrong body because her memory book has just been burned, and the ship, which is a sentient ship, of course, that just seems to be the thing now in sci-fi, sentient ships, wakes her up because she is a detective, and he's like, the ship is like, something's going wrong, right? So you need to be aware of this, wake up, hello. And so it's her like trying to solve this mystery and stuff like that. And it felt like it was setting up for something so much more explosive and bombastic, but it ended up being so simple and like lackluster of an ending. I don't know, but it was still like an enjoyable experience, and I will be continuing in this series as they come out because I think it was quite a cute, cozy situation. And I mean, 3.5 stars is not a bad rating. It's like 70%. Like, it was a good book, you know? Anyways, I'm just yammering now. But yeah, 3.5 stars. Then I picked up Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. And this was such a fun time. I had so much fun with this. The voice of this novel, outstanding. I loved the way that this was put together. It was such a fun, thrillery mystery book. I had so much fun. It's laid out as our main character describing like everyone in his like closer nuclear family who has killed someone, and it's like in order. So it starts with my brother, I believe. Yeah, it starts with my brother and like how he killed somebody and all this kind of stuff. And it's also like, as he's explaining all these different things, they are actively at this family reunion in this very kind of secluded snowy mountain ski resort type situation in Australia somewhere, and someone dies there. Someone that's not tied to the family in any way, but someone shows up dead. And so there's also a mystery happening actively right then. So I thought it was absolutely brilliantly well done. The audiobook is also fantastic for this one. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I cannot wait to read the sequel because the voice of this author is so fun. And he's a comedian. It says on the back he's a comedian, which totally comes through. That dry humor, exactly my kind of shit. I'm very excited to keep exploring Benjamin Stevenson's writing. This was just genuinely so fun. I highly recommend this. Then I reread Legendborn for the second time. So this is the third time I'm reading this book. I fucking love this book. First time I read it was 5 stars. Second time I read it was 4.5 stars. And third time I read it was 5 fucking stars. I don't know what second time me was on when she was rereading this, but it is a perfect book. Sure, there might be issues with it. It's a perfect book either way. I fucking loved this book so goddamn much. Okay, so this follows Bree, who goes to this new kind of like program at this university, but they have a program for like high school students there, UNC Chapel Hill, I think it's called. She goes to this program with her best friend Alice after her mom passes away in a very traumatic accident. And so Bree is kind of trying to deal with that grief and also this new place. And then the first night that she's there, she witnesses this very weird magical attack, and she's like, what the fuck is actually happening right now? So she gets dropped into this world of Merlins and King Arthur's Round Table and extremely racist old men, and she ends up like wanting to entrench herself in this world because she thinks she will learn something about what happened to her mom and that whole night, because there's a lot of mystery surrounding it. She ends up meeting Nick, who's my favorite, and Selwyn Kane, who I fucking hate. I know I'm on the minority with that one, but I just hate the bad boy trope. Can we stop that? I know it's like a thing. Can we stop the bad boy trope? I can't. And literally, I don't want Bree to be with anybody. I want her to be just a strong, independent woman because she's 16 years old, okay? This is not a, like, Edward versus Jacob type of situation. This is just me being like, I don't like the character of Selwyn Kane. I love Nick. I cannot wait to see where he goes in his journey in these books because I have only read the first 2. This is my rereading to get to Oathbound, which is a recent release. So I loved this. This reread was fantastic. It just solidified my hatred of Selwyn Kane and my love of this book and my love of Tracy Dion's writing. I cannot wait for the next one. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. And finally, I finished this month by reading Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. This is my second Olivia Blake. I read the Atlas 6 previously by her, and I enjoyed the reading experience of the Atlas 6, but really just could not care less about that book. The world building and the magic system, you poke at it and it'll fall apart. Not a great book, but I'm a little wary about everything else that Olivia Blake has written because of that. But my friend Sophia recently got a gifted copy of Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake from Tor. She's obsessed with that book. And I was like, okay. And then she said, and I was like, oh, do you think I'll like it? And she goes, I think you'll hate it. And I'm like, great. I can't wait to read it. Because I don't know why I'm so interested in reading books that people think I'm gonna hate. It's weird. It's a weird feeling that's just come up now, because usually I'm like, okay, well, I know what I like and what I don't like. But then I went on to my library's app, Libby, of course. We love Libby in this household. I'm so sorry, Freya is playing with her boxes. And I ended up finding Masters of Death, which was available both in ebook and in audiobook form. So I was like, great, I'm gonna try another Olivia Blake, because I've heard very little about Masters of Death, but people who have talked about it really like it. So I tried it. I really liked this. I gave it 4 stars. I was honestly shocked. Sure, her world building again is kind of faulty and empty feeling, And as a world building girly who loves lush world building in my fantasy books, as you can tell by the books behind me, I was a little mad about that, and it got like really convoluted by the end, but I had a great time. I had a great time with this book. I gave it 4 stars. I think it was great. So could I tell you really what it's about? Not really. I mean, it follows this guy who's the godson of death, Fox Demora, who pretends to be a medium, but really he's just a mortal with a watch that's Time's watch, which gives him immortality. And it's also following a vampire who's a real estate agent who finds a like support group of supernatural creatures as they come together and try to rid this house of this ghost that she's trying to sell. And then also it's a love story, and also it's about this game. And it just keeps getting more and more convoluted as you go along. But I really enjoyed it, and I think it's great. And I really don't know how to recommend that book to anybody, because I'm just like, I guess if you like Olivia Blake, you'll like it. But I don't know how to recommend it to anyone else, because I don't know what kind of reader would love that book. You know what I mean? That's one book that I don't really know how to recommend. Anyways, those are the 7 books that I read in April, which is a little crazy. That was so quick. But hopefully in May we have a little bit of an okay reading month, because May is going to be my like writing editing month for A Favored Face, so I don't know how much time I'm gonna actually have to read anything. So we'll find out how it goes. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite book of April was and what you have on your May TBR. I will catch you guys in another video very, very, very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.